me out of here! Let 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 me out of here!
And this is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. Thanks for joining us. The real planet destroyers. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, you know, liberals, they claim to have a monopoly on loving and protecting the planet. Their self-righteous green messaging is everywhere.
I use all eco-friendly and sustainable materials and just trying to be more energy efficient, better for the planet.
Forget Earth Day. We need Rebirth Day, as in the rebirth of common sense. Practical thinking that can ensure that we grow and we prosper while we're also solid conservationists. It is possible. The fact is, despite their exhortations on clean energy, the Democrats, through bad stewardship of the economy and foreign policy, are doing enormous damage to the natural world. Now let's take a quick inventory. The emergency response to train derailment. Now, mystery still surrounding the government's action here, but the public has a right to know why the best course of action in that East Palestine, Ohio train derailment was to carry out a controlled burn of railway cars. Now, these dangerous chemicals that were torched include vinyl chloride and butyl acrylate. The flames were shot up like 100 feet into the air. Now, officials have tried to reassure the public, even told them they could go home after a while, but who believes them?
The foxes are pacing rapidly in their pen, another sign they are not well.
Smoke and chemicals from the train, it's the only thing that could cause it because it doesn't just happen out of nowhere.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless.
If it can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years.
I was here 5 minutes and I have a headache right now, and you can smell it.
We were coughing, our eyes were watering, our skin was very flaky, and over the subsequent days became very dry.
Where are the environmentalists now? Where's President Biden? Then there's the Nord Stream pipelines. Now, the reporting of Pulitzer Prize winner Seymour Hersh points to U.S. involvement in blowing it up. Now, the explosions carried out to punish Russia sent as much as 500,000 metric tons of methane into the Baltic Sea. So where's Al Gore? Why hasn't that human dirigible spoken out, demanding answers? Or will we even learn anything other than, well, something he'll consider an inconvenient truth? And then there's the homelessness in tent cities across America. From LA to Washington, D.C., the nation's homeless population is skyrocketing. We've all seen it. Governors like Gavin Newsom pride themselves on being at the tip of the green spear. But their horrible sanctuary city policies and their permissiveness toward drugs help turn their cities into trash heaps. People living outdoors is an ecological disaster.
In 2019, about 42,300 needles were reportedly recovered, and we've learned today in 2022 that number was about 176,000.
I seen cigarettes, needles, not knives, homeless.
There's already trash out there. There's already feces, urine, and other things out there.
Now, all of this, of course, leads to horrific contamination and even worse, deadly fires. Yes, fires started in homeless encampments are growing in California. And just last year, one homeless man was charged with intentionally setting 10, count them, 10 separate fires in Sonoma County forests. So why aren't the climate change people demanding action? Why not fight the Democrats' policies that are contributing to homelessness? And then there's drug legalization. Liberals' push to legalize marijuana, high THC content, and even hard drugs is an unfolding societal and environmental disaster. Now, legalizing weed in California has led to an explosion of cartel-operated illegal grows in our national and state forests. Then, the open border. Now, remember when they used to complain about Trump's wall being bad for natural habitats? Well, I too worry about the migration pattern of the Mexican gray wolf, but I also worry about the pattern of violent criminals and drugs crossing our now open border. I've seen the environmental disaster along the Rio Grande with my own eyes back in 2019. Trash, debris scattered on these once beautiful grassy banks, and of course it all ultimately ends up in the Gulf of Mexico, tossed by the illegal aliens crossing into America.
We've had pasture land burnt by illegals. We've had lots of trash left behind. It's only getting worse, and it's because of all the policies that the Biden administration has rolled back that the Trump administration put into place and was working.
And then there are EVs. Now, we couldn't even escape the proselytizing about that during the Super Bowl.
General Motors is going electric, and Netflix is joining in by including more EVs in their movies and shows. Believe they can do it. Swarmed by an army of the dead. Why not get swarmed in an EV? No! I said no biting. Or if you're being voluntarily kidnapped, why not be kidnapped in an EV?
God, that was a bad commercial. Now, of course, electric cars require car batteries, which require the mining of rare earth materials, which are horribly toxic to the miners, and of course, adds to more disaster. And the production of those materials that are needed are often ruinous to land, water, and wildlife. And what about the war in Ukraine? Well, it's brutal, and of course, Putin started it amidst Biden's weakness. It has been a complete catastrophe for the environment. And the longer it goes on with the help of U.S. munitions, the greater the damage to plants, water, and animals. One estimate puts the damage now at $40 billion. And the UN, well, it's warning of the war's toxic environmental legacy, and samples taken from a river east of Lviv showed ammonia levels there 163 times the normal level, and nitrate levels 50 times too high. I ask again, where are the environmentalists? Why aren't they calling for peace talks? And what about COVID insanity? Lockdowns meant no activity. And the left was so happy, all those clear, satellite shots, no more pollution. But Democrats' heavy-handed COVID policies, pushing panic porn 24/7, that made an already bad environmental situation worse. Untold millions of rubber gloves and gutters. I still see them in the parking lot at the grocery store near my house. It's infuriating. And the masks that didn't work and that we didn't need are now polluting our rivers and killing our oceans and our wildlife. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And then there's wind and solar. The power of wind. We're told it's clean energy. Well, do you want to look at this out of your front window? And some turbines, wind turbines, are already falling down.
We heard a really loud boom and thought maybe one of our buildings had collapsed and looked around and they were fine. So we were joking that, oh, I wonder if it was a windmill that collapsed. And then the next morning I came out and in the early light I thought, boy, something doesn't seem right up there.
And in New Jersey, we see the disruption of marine life from the massive wind farms being built offshore.
This is another dead humpback whale here, the ninth to wash up in New York and New Jersey in just the past 2 months and counting. Activists tell us they're blaming the spike in whale deaths on offshore wind projects. The massive equipment and the drilling on the ocean floor could be impacting the whales, interfering with their communication and travel here, and also leading to deaths.
I guess they'll save the whales bumper stickers. Got to peel those off, replace with what? Save the wind? Save the turbines? As for solar, well, China's dominating that market already big time. And that's more pollution because of the way they produce things. More cargo ships sending panels to the United States. But it's green and it's good for us, right? And finally, speaking of China, if liberals and conservatives really cared about the environment, they'd want to bring all our manufacturing back to the United States where it's done more responsibly and also employs Americans. But of course, that would really upset John Kerry and Wall Street. Both are perfectly happy to see China grow more powerful. Whether they build 5 coal plants a day or 50, it doesn't matter. So what's best for the planet? I'll tell you what's best. It's a strong, independent, and innovative American economy. One that won't happen under the current leadership. We know that. They're bought and paid for by the world's biggest polluter, China. When they say climate change, you all should grab your wallet and hide your kids. Because for them, it's not about oceans or ozone. It's about power and money. They're never going to stop flying private to Davos, but they want you to give up driving altogether. Well, Europe may go for that, but not us. And that's the angle.